Morning, much of western North Carolina remains cut off from the rest of the state after the impacts of Helene destroyed hundreds of roads. Take a look at your screen right now. This is the scene in dozens of communities this morning as significant recovery efforts continue. The destroyed roads are proving a massive hurdle for relief efforts, with volunteers being forced to airlift supplies. But state and federal agencies are working hard this morning to get those roads repaired and reopened. U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg joins us now live from Washington, D.C. this morning to talk about what's being done to get the roads fixed. Secretary, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Good morning. Glad to be with you.
All right. So give us an idea. What is a timeline for getting these roads, especially the major interstates like I-40 and I-26, back up and running?
Yeah, I-40 is a clear priority. There are also still parts of I-26 that are compromised, although I was pleased to see how much of that got back up and running by yesterday. We estimate over 400 roads still closed and are engaging with North Carolina's DOT to address them. It's difficult to overstate how profound and widespread the damage is here. And so there's a lot of prioritization that's going to have to go on. Our department's role is largely to make sure that funding is not a barrier. So North Carolina's DOT has signaled to us that they are going to file for what's called emergency relief. That opens up a fund that we can use to provide some of the dollars to get that done. And that can go to everything from preparation and certain kinds of debris removal to getting on with the reconstruction. The latest estimates I've seen from North Carolina's DOT suggest it is months at minimum before there is a full restoration of I-40, but we have seen in many disasters around the country how temporary solutions can be applied to try to get vehicles moving. That's part of what we'll provide technical assistance on, working with the DOT in state to get as much back to normal as quickly as possible.
Secretary Buttigieg, what do you say to folks who question the response time of this administration?
Well, the administration was there on day one, actually before day one, because many were pre-positioned. Now, this is a storm that, of course, had a path that went across multiple states, but that's exactly why we have thousands of people on the ground. I had a chance to be at the FEMA Command Center, was briefed by teams by video conference from each of the impacted states. The dedication of responders on the ground and of the emergency support personnel from across the administration supporting them is inspiring. They are working literally around the clock, whether it's the transportation elements that our department is involved in, the folks working to get power back up and running, restoring communications, or any of the other elements. The other thing I'll say is that the president has been very personally involved. Of course, he was traveling yesterday and will be today as well to see for himself the situation. But before that, day before yesterday, had the cabinet agencies brief him as he was pressing all of the different parts of the administration for more information on how to speed things up, make sure that every form of support is there for local leaders trying to get things done. And part of his message was to cut through red tape and any obstacles so that there is no artificial obstacle to getting things addressed.
Secretary, it strikes me that people listening at home or victims of this, they can't get help soon enough. But I also think it's important to set expectations. What can't your department do in terms of rebuilding roads and some of the infrastructure?
Yeah, that's part of why we want to be really cautious to be accurate. The timelines for all of this are going to be dictated by safety. We would like for every road to be fully repaired yesterday. What we can do is make sure that there's funding and technical assistance. We're also providing routing assistance, so we have a hotline available to responders so that they can access our data to find out how there is a safe route to get to somewhere they need to be. But I want to be very transparent and honest here. This won't be fixed overnight, and there are a lot of steps that we're going to have to work through in order to make sure that we're building back safely. And in some cases, it may be that the newly reconstructed road or bridge will look a little bit differently than the one that it replaced, because the reality is we have to build for a new normal here in terms of the extreme weather in this country. Of course, hope and expect that there will never be something like this again impacting these communities, especially those folks in Western North Carolina who've had such extreme pain and disruption. But what we do know is that there is more extreme weather coming to the United States for the rest of our lives. we've got to build accordingly.
Tom Tillis and Ted Budd are calling on Congress to come back into session and pass some relief. What's your message to lawmakers?
Well, I got to tell you, even just from the transportation piece alone, based on the preliminary estimates and numbers that I'm seeing, there will be, this one storm alone will generate more need than what we currently have in our whole emergency relief program as a department. So there is no question. To be clear, we can meet the immediate requests that are coming in, but there's just no way that we can do what needs to be done without help from Congress. We're going to need supplemental funding. I hope and expect that that will be a bipartisan priority. I think it should be. We've certainly seen a lot of bipartisanship on display this week. Republican and Democratic senators, governors, the administration, we've got to keep working together because we can't let funding be an obstacle to so many people who were impacted by this storm getting their lives back and getting back to normal as quickly as possible.
Because it can't happen soon enough. All right, Secretary Buttigieg live in Washington, D.C. Secretary, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.